Friday night. Well, actually, it's not Friday night. It's Friday afternoon. At least it's Friday afternoon where I am. It is Friday, October the 11th, 2019, 3:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Coming at you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. How is everybody doing? Are you ready for the weekend? Ready for the weekend? Hey, it is Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend. Yes, we Canadians, we Canucks celebrate Thanksgiving on the second weekend in October. I believe, I stand to be corrected, I think that might be the real Thanksgiving. Because I think at one point we celebrated it on the Thursday that you guys do in the States in November as well, and then we switched, and then something happened switch. Anyways, I gotta brush up on my Thanksgiving on my Thanksgiving history. But yes, so I'm looking forward to my turkey and my stuffing and my taters and my pumpkin pie this coming weekend. So yeah, hard to believe that it's already almost the middle of October. How is everybody doing? Holly Klein is here. Hey Holly, how are you? Happy Friday to you as well. Mad Dog says, Dave, do you make it down for any Sabres games? I have. I haven't this year, and I didn't last year. I think the last Sabres game I made it down to was, I want to say about October, November of 2017. So a couple years ago. Because they just suck. And, you know, like I'm one of those fans that I don't subscribe to the idea of, well, you're not a fan if you don't support me when they suck. Well, listen, of course I support them. I mean, I'll watch the games and things like that. But if they are an atrocious team, if they're an awful team, then I have no desire to go and I'm not going to spend money to go and see them play. I'll wait till they get better. You know, and that's how I feel. So it looks like they're getting better, which is good, which is awesome. They'll always be my favorite team. They've been my favorite team for 35 years, since Tom Barrasso was their goalie back in the early 80s. So, yeah, but they've come around. I don't know how Kruger's going to do as a coach, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm open to it, right? They've gotten off to a pretty decent start. I think their best start since 2009 or something, or 10, or which is not, I mean, they're only like 3-1 or 3-2 or so. I don't know what they are, but yes, I do get down, and I'm thinking about getting down this year as well. I'm thinking about it. Michael Brunson says, hi Dave, you're freaking awesome. Well, thank you, Michael, much appreciated. Gary Sim says, Dave, you looking forward to tomorrow's stream? Oh, yes, that's right. Hallo-stream. Tomorrow night on Drum Dum's channel. For those of you that don't know, tomorrow night, Hallo-stream, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself, Lee McCoy, Jimmy Champagne, Wolfman's Got Nards, and the fine folks, Mike and Jay from We Watched a Movie. That is tomorrow night. Hallo-stream. Hallo-stream Kills, I believe it's called. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Lee McCoy's channel. Not on this channel, on his channel. So tune in for that. That will be fun. No doubt about it. Bereaves82 says, Haddonfield Memorial, are you disappointed that they're doing another Halloween Greatest Hits movie? Well, we don't know if they're doing another Halloween Greatest Hits movie. I mean, look, if it makes sense, then it's okay. I think Haddonfield Memorial is unnecessary. I think that's fan service because the logo even looks the exact same. And the logo doesn't have to look the exact same. I even saw behind-the-scenes photos of what looks like a paramedic wearing the exact logo, unless it was just maybe it wasn't a paramedic, maybe it was somebody. Maybe because Fright Rags had visited the set recently, and they have on their website the Jimmy Hospital hoodie, and on the back of the hoodie there's the old sort of logo. So maybe they were handing them out. I don't know. This is purely speculation, and maybe somebody from the crew was just wearing it, but it was the exact logo from Halloween 2. And that's unnecessary because Halloween 2 doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, but I'm just saying in this timeline, it doesn't exist. Every single thing that happened in Halloween 2, 1981, every single thing, it never happened. Ever. There was no massacre. All the kills, Jimmy, Bud, Amazing Grace, come sit on my face. All never happened. Never happened. Hot tub scene in the pool. Never, ever happened. So to introduce a hospital and call it Haddonfield Memorial and to have the logo the exact same, yeah, that's purely fan service because it's unnecessary to do that. So, but to bring Tommy back and to bring Lindsay back and to bring Brackett back, and they're bringing a lot of people back. I think I've yet to see the movie. At face value, obviously I've yet to see it, but at face value, thinking about it, I think it's one too many or a couple of too many. Like in my sequel concept idea, I had brought back Brackett and I brought back Tommy and I brought back Lonnie. But I didn't bring back Lindsay and I didn't bring back Marion because I just felt that, the more people you bring back, unless you're going to have them as an ensemble all together, like some, Indiana Jones film. But even that, that was one of the things that I hated about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was there were too many people together. There wasn't enough focus on Jones. That's one thing. There's a lot of things I hated about that movie or didn't like about the movie. So with Halloween Kills, it's like, well, what are their roles? And if their roles are sort of fragmented and we don't feel like they're getting enough time with these characters, then it might feel shoehorned in, fan service, and like a greatest hits thing. Oh, we'll just throw Tommy in there and he's in there for 5 minutes because, it's Tommy, and it's like, but it makes sense to me to bring back somebody. It does. And in my opinion, if you were going to bring back anybody, you bring back Tommy Doyle. I don't give a fuck about Lindsay. And it's not personal to Kyle Richards, but I don't care about the character because the character isn't integral enough to bring back. When you think of the original film, and I've said this before, if you're going to bring back one of the two kids, who do you bring back? Well, you bring back Tommy because he's integral to the narrative, to the message of that first movie. Tommy was the one that believed in the boogeyman. Lori was the one that was telling him there was no such thing. And at the very end of the movie, Dr. she says, it was the boogeyman, right? And Loomis is like, as a matter of fact, it was. So Tommy was right. You can't kill the boogeyman. Who says that? Tommy says that. Tommy was the one that sort of helped bring it full circle and helped Lori to realize that, oh my God, it was the boogeyman, So Tommy was the one that Lori was babysitting. Lindsay wasn't the one that she was, she eventually babysat her because, Annie wanted to go off and fuck Paul. But Lindsay, it's cute to bring her back. And I'm not saying that Kyle Richards is not going to knock it out of the park with whatever her role is, and that when I see the movie, be like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. But at face value, when I think about it, I'm like, why are you bringing back Lindsay? I don't, like, I get it. It's Lindsay, oh my God, it's that, But Tommy's the one that you want to bring back, in my opinion, if you had a choice. So that's why I also brought him back in my concept and not Lindsay. But so, I don't know. I'm not convinced it's fan service yet, but the more people they start to add, the less screen time they're all going to have, right? Because there's only so much that you can do. It's not going to be a 3-hour epic movie. So, I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. And again, that's not personal to Lindsay. I love Lindsay. Who doesn't like her, right? But when you think of the crux of sort of the movie and the message, it's Tommy. That's the one you want to bring back. Lindsay's like, okay, cool. But unnecessary in my opinion. But maybe not. Maybe she'll be really integral to Halloween Kills. Let's see here. Ryan Webster says, I think Joker should be movie of the decade. Yeah, it was great. Loved it. Loved Joker. Loved it. Brilliant. Again, like I said, there's a few things I maybe would have done a bit differently, but overall I thought it was brilliant. Can't wait to get it on Blu-ray. Or 4K or whatever. Let's see here. DMT Infinity says, hey Dave, I know this is random and completely unrelated to the topic at hand, but I'm curious to know what your all-time favorite band or artist is at this point in time. I don't really know. I'm not a big band guy. I think my favorite band, I like all music. And when I say I like all music, that doesn't mean that I like all music. It just means that they're like if there's a track that's hip hop and it happens to get me, kind of like, oh, that's good. I like that. I like that. Beat and melody is really important to me. At the end of the day, unless it's a slow song or something that's moving and really sort of meaningful, I couldn't give a frog's fat ass what the lyrics are. I really don't care. They could be singing about ketchup, chips, and orange juice, and I just don't care. If the beat is really good and the melody is really good, and I can bop to it in my car, or, I don't really go to clubs anymore being 40, but, back in the day, right, when I was in college and shit, then I'm all for it. So anything, R&B, hip hop, dance, techno, top 40, fuck, I'll listen to top 40, 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. So there really isn't a specific artist or band I follow. But if I had to pick what my favorite band would be, it would probably be AC/DC, just because I grew up with them. I have two older brothers that were really into them. It was my first concert I ever went to, was their Stiff Upper Lip tour in 2001. I just love AC/DC. And I know that a lot of the music sounds the same, but it's all great fucking shit. Can't argue that, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah. Ba-da-da-da. Oh, Chris Bennett says, I thought your favorite was AC/DC. It was. Or it is. It is my favorite. Thought I saw a super chat. No, I didn't. Okay. Good. Means I didn't miss it. Sucks Films, or maybe it's SUX Films. Hey, Dave, I'm curious to know whether or not you're going to get the actor playing the Prowler in It's Me, Billy, to stand on his head like... Oh, yes. No, because what'll probably happen with It's Me, Billy is... because remember, the actor that no. What's probably going to happen is I'm probably going to do the voice of Billy in post-production. And then the actor, I'm not going to play Billy because we need somebody significantly older. Yeah, no, that's funny though that you say that, because that's true. Yeah, he did do that. Holly Klein says, favorite AC/DC song of mine is If You Want Blood. Love that intro. If You Want Blood? What album is that from, Holly? For some reason, that's not... I know so much AC/DC, and that's not sticking to me. I probably heard it, but it's probably one of their more kind of obscure ones. Is that a Bon Scott or a Brian Johnson song? Let me know, Holly. Excuse me, I don't want to call you Hall. Maybe that's... Don't call me Hall, man! Ethan LeBlanc says, you the man. Looking forward to Hallo-stream. Thanks, Ethan. Much appreciated. Yeah, I am too. It's going to be fun to speak with Wolfman and Jimmy Champagne sort of in person for all intents and purposes. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Wow, 150 people watching on a Friday afternoon. Aren't you guys supposed to be working? I guess it depends on where you are in the world. Let's see. Sweet Tea, thank you for the super chat, Sweet. Much appreciated. I cannot wait until I hear It's Me, Billy. Yes. For those of you that don't know, last night I had a production meeting with Bruce that lasted about 2.5 hours. He was unable to make it up to my place, so we just did it through Skype. And we finished off the first draft of our script for It's Me, Billy. Now, that doesn't mean that now we're jumping right into production. The film is still in development. There's a lot of stages even of development that it has to go through. But completing the first draft of the script is huge. And the first draft is about 20 pages long, which some of you might be thinking, that doesn't sound very long. Well, it's a short film, don't forget. And 20 pages for a short film is really good. So, the rule of thumb is about a minute a page, but that all depends on how much dialogue and how much action is on a page. So my guess is, I'm thinking, because I'm a very sort of slow burn kind of filmmaker, and Bruce and I are going to direct it together, and he appreciates that as well. It's a 20-page script. It might end up being 25, 30 minutes long. My guess is it'll be between 25 and 30 minutes long, the actual film. But that's ballpark right now. So anyway, yeah, the first draft is done, and then we're going to sort of let it sit for a few days, walk away from it, right? Then come back to it, go over it. So now we begin our second draft. and we start going over it and rearranging maybe some of the dialogue. Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? Some of the action scene, whatever the case is. And then once that is done and we eventually have a locked script that we're happy with, we will then start to move into working on a production budget. And then we work on a production budget, and we'll work on storyboarding any sort of scenes that might need storyboarding. Bruce is a professional visual artist, so he has had much experience in storyboard drawing, so he'll probably handle that. And then once the production budget is made up and we shoot a little, just about maybe a 1 minute, minute and a half little teaser, it's not going to show a lot, but that'll be for the Indiegogo campaign. And we're looking to raise, although this is ballpark right now, we're looking to raise probably in the area between $25,000 and $30,000. Because even though it's a short movie, as I've said before on this channel, movies cost a lot of money to make. I mean, just the location alone for us to, because, let's say we wanted to use a house, right? To rent out a location for a day. And let's say we wanted to shoot at this location for 3 days. Let's just say, hypothetically. It might cost us, $1,200, $1,300 a day just to rent the location. So we could spend $6,000 or $7,000 just in renting a location. So, and that's par for the course. I mean, that's what sometimes, happens. So, and that doesn't factor in the crew and the actors and the, all that kind of stuff. So, and the cost of the perks that are going to go with the Indiegogo campaign as well. So it's still in development. We're not close to shooting yet, but it's an exciting step. And if you're not following this fan film, or you don't know what it's about, it is a Black Christmas fan film. Black Christmas is a Canadian horror movie shot right here in Toronto. And we're shooting a little short film that is going to act as a sequel to Black Christmas. And the official Facebook page is below in the link. So make sure you follow that. Follow us there. I'll be posting updates there when we can. So it is exciting, Sweet Tea. Absolutely, 100%. I am very excited about it. And this is going to be fun. We want to do something that'll make Black Christmas fans proud. And I got to admit, there's some creepy things we have in there. So, but it's homage as well, right? We're not taking it in a vastly different direction. It's a natural sort of organic kind of thing. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Chris Bennett says, Dave, do your Sean Connery impression. Do my Sean Connery impression? I don't have a Sean Connery impression. I think you might be thinking about the wrong guy. Lee Bowers says, at Dave McRae, this lawsuit is ridiculous for Friday the 13th, and I wish Sean and Victor would work together and make a movie. It's almost 40. Yeah, and quite frankly, they really don't give a shit what the fans think. Now, when I say that, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that they don't care about fans in general, or that they don't care about what fans think, right? That's a little bit of hyperbole. But what I mean is, at the end of the day, this is business. And they care about getting what they rightly feel they deserve. They don't care about how you or I or anybody feels about Friday the 13th. This is a business. They want their money, 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 money. And they want, and rightly so. I mean, at the end of the day, rightly so, right? Credit's got to go where credit is due, 100%. It's just unfortunate that it's being dragged out as long as it is because, excuse me, there are a lot of fans that want another Friday the 13th movie. I understand that. I get it. Yeah, it is unfortunate. But hopefully maybe, cooler heads will prevail and they'll end up, coming to a conclusion of this thing sooner rather than later. But yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to business and when it comes to that level, like when you're working at the Hollywood level, and there's potentially millions of dollars being tossed around that could be rightfully yours at any given moment in time. It's a whole different level. They just don't care what you think, And again, with a grain of salt. I mean, they love their fans. They support the fans. But at the end of the day, it's business, right? It's not personal. It's business. But I get what you're saying, man. I do. Let's see here. Let me go back. Just want to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Okay, good. Like to do that. Yep, Friday afternoon. The weekend is here. The weekend is here. You know what? I don't know if... Did Holly respond again? Because I asked Holly about that AC/DC thing. Holly. Oh, Highway to Hell album side 2. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you, Holly. I will check it out. I've probably heard it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that one. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Jay, the movie maker, says, I heard Brian Andrews is pissed that Anthony Michael Hall replaces him. It's the same reason Lonnie was recast. Neither of them have acted since 1978. I don't know why Brian doesn't get that. Well, I don't know Brian, and if Brian sees this stream, which I'm sure he won't, but if he does, it's look, I get it. I get it from both sides. Brian Andrews also, if you haven't been following him, I'm not friends on his Facebook, but a lot of people are, and it's been brought to my attention that he has been, he's in some financial trouble. So, I believe there was even like a GoFundMe campaign or whatever. I don't know how successful it is. Anyway, he was making a lot of posts about how he, was going to be evicted. Actually, this past Tuesday, I think. I don't know. Was he evicted? I'm not sure. And if he needs a place to live or a place to crash for a bit or, whatever the case is. And, Brian Andrews is obviously not in a really good financial position. There's a lot of personal things going on. He even posted a phone call that he had with his mother, and his mother is being cared for by some lady or something to that degree. And it's a weird phone call, and he's talking to her, and it's on his Facebook page. Go to Brian Andrews' Facebook page, scroll down, you'll see all the posts, you'll hear the phone call. Brian I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know him personally, obviously, but he's going through a lot. So when you're going through a lot, that is a lot of unnecessary drama that the production may or may not know about. I know he doesn't have a personal relationship with anybody, but it doesn't take a genius to, search somebody's social media out. As you mentioned, Brian Andrews, he's acted in small amateur independent things. Stuff that would even be like a real amateur shit, and some independent stuff, more professional. But he hasn't acted, really, for all intents and purposes, in 40-something years. So, they made an executive decision. We need somebody that's a stronger actor. Now, they hired a guy who looks totally like an adult version of that kid we saw in 1978. That is cool. What his role is going to be, I don't know. But Brian Andrews has every right to be pissed, but there could be look, there's two sides to every story, right? I know that Brian, I stand to be corrected on this, but I think he might have a bit of trouble maybe with some alcohol. I'm not sure. I've heard some things. And I'm not saying that is true. So don't take that to the bank, okay? But he's going through a lot. When you think of the relationship he has with his mother or lack thereof, and the shit going on with her care worker, just listen to that phone call. It's wild. And then he's in financial, problems. He's desperate. He's desperate. And could they have gotten Brian Andrews for cheap? Yeah, relatively. They probably could have hired Brian Andrews to play Tommy Doyle for, I don't know, $150,000, $200,000. They probably could have got him for that. But Brian Andrews is probably extra upset, not just because Anthony Michael Hall, it's not personal to Anthony Michael Hall, but I think he's probably extra pissed because of the financial situation he's in. And he saw this as a potential opportunity to make money. And to make, not millions of dollars, but to make maybe, a couple $100,000, perhaps, maybe, that would help bring him out of poverty and put him in a good spot. It didn't happen. So he's pissed. And he feels even more pissed because they've hired pretty much everybody else. I get it. Unfortunately, this is business. And they may have looked at Brian and said, they may have thought this. They may have. I'm not saying they did, but they may have thought, if Brian was better, if he was more reliable, if he was like, if Brian was in a better place in his life. You know, he's not an actor anymore, but he's a job. He's an accountant, or he's a lawyer, or he's, I don't know, he's a real estate agent. He's a contractor, you know, whatever, right? He's not acting anymore, but he's independent, you know, and he's totally fine. He's just not acting. Maybe they would have looked at him, and maybe they would have said, okay, Brian, can you take an acting class, brush up on some stuff, or let's hold an audition. Let's see how you are. We can't promise anything, but let's see how you are. They may have extended that courtesy. They might have. But when you look at everything around Brian's life as well, it's just like, you know, is he going to be on set when we need him? Or is something going to happen with his mother and his mother's care worker? Is he going to be kicked out of his apartment? Like, I mean, there's probably other factors in there that the whole package of Brian Andrews is just not a reliable package. And that's not personal. That's business. And I'm not saying that is what they thought, because according to Andrews, he was never contacted. Malik, you know, Blumhouse, they never contacted him. But just behind the scenes, you know, if we know that he's like that, it wouldn't take a lot for them to figure it out. Right? So that could be a factor. Is it a little unfortunate? Sure. Yeah, it is. It's a little unfortunate, you know, because it would have been cool to see the original Brian Andrews in there. I just hope that he gets his life, you know, life in order. That's what I hope. That's what I hope. That's what I want to see. Okay. My stream is stuttering a little bit. Don't know why. Damn you, OBS. Let's see here. Jonathan Ball says, Dave, will you ever discuss review Friday 13th TV series? No. It was really big for us, 40 plus. I remember it, but no, probably not, because I remember it, but I didn't really watch it. It's like I'll never review Freddy's New Nightmares, or Freddy's Nightmares, I should say. I think that's what it was called, right? That wasn't really good. The Friday the 13th series, I didn't think was very good. So I won't. And I can't really remember it. I'd have to go back and brush up on it. Let's see here. Bobby Hall says, Dave, have you read Erwin Yablans' Halloween book? I believe you got a copy from him at the 40th convention and was wondering how good it is. Yes, I did. Yeah, well, that's it's so cool. That's such a cool story. For those of you that may not know this, so I was at the Halloween 40th anniversary convention last year. I was killing a couple of birds with one stone. And so I was there, and I was at the convention, and I walked up to Erwin Yablans' table, and I introduced myself and told him who I was and blah, blah, blah. And he was enthralled that I was a voice actor. And he was telling me all about his granddaughter, who was just totally enamored with voice acting. She knows all the voice actors and all this kind of stuff. And so we hit it off, and we shot I stood there and we shot the shit at his table for probably about half an hour. Nothing to do with Halloween. It was great. And it was sort of at a point where there was a bit of a lull in people coming up to his table, because there was some lunchtime, there were some panels happening, so I was able to do it. And it was great. And I bought his book, and he signed the book for me, and he asked me, he knew that I was going to be back in Hollywood about a month later to attend the Voice Arts Awards. And so I treated his granddaughter and Mickey, who played Richie in Halloween, I treated them both to the Voice Arts Awards. And that was just awesome. We met at Warner Brothers and walked the red carpet together, and we hung out there at the back lot, and it was just such a nice man. The Yablans are wonderful people. I mean, I don't know them very well, but from what I know, really cool people. Erwin was not there, but Mickey and his daughter was. And his daughter is an absolute encyclopedia of, she knows more about voiceover and who voiced that and what that means and voice of this than even I do. I mean, she was just a walking encyclopedia, and she was awesome. So that was really cool. So yeah, that's a neat little story about how that kind of came to be. So really cool shit. And his book is awesome. His book is not just about Halloween. I highly recommend that if you're a Halloween fan, you buy his book, because it's not just about Halloween. It's about Erwin's life and how he came to prominence as as a very prominent independent producer in Hollywood, because he produced Halloween. He produced Halloween 2. I believe he helped produce that. What's that other one? There's a couple more in there. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Somebody will probably say it. But yeah, really cool book. Talks about his life. And then the middle of the book is like about Halloween with photos, but it's not just about Halloween. So if you're looking for a book that's just about Halloween, it might not be for you. But if you're curious about Erwin Yablans and his life and Halloween, then I recommend it, because as much credit as we give John Carpenter, and rightly so, we often forget that if it wasn't for Erwin Yablans, there would be no Halloween. It was his idea that he conceived. And according to Erwin, it was also his idea for the poster, one of the most iconic posters, not just in horror, but in motion picture history, the original Halloween poster. It was his idea for the fist and the knife, according to Erwin. And that's really cool. And, it was his idea to set the movie on Halloween. So I mean, there's a lot of things that because John Carpenter, and rightly so, he's the director, he's the writer of the film. Rightly so, it's his visual style and aesthetic. But Erwin was the one that said, I want a movie that's more theater of the mind. I want a movie that's not a lot of blood and things like that. And John was the guy that could totally oh yeah, I totally know what you mean. How about this? And yeah, that's great. It's a collab. That's one thing people don't realize about film. Not everybody, but a lot of it's a collaborative effort, right? And that does mean that there aren't, disagreements and things that heated things don't happen every now and then. But yeah, I mean, just really cool stuff. Erwin's a cool guy. So we often forget that he's just as big a part of Halloween as John Carpenter is. So yes, I do recommend the book, but it's not just a book about him and Halloween. It's his life. So awesome stuff. And his family's just awesome. Let me see. The Horror Show says, that's okay. Dave and I may have something up our sleeves. Oh, the Horror Show must be the Horror Show. Interesting you say that. Oh, it's talking about something else. I came in too late. I was yapping. Let's see here. Did I miss any super chats? I might have. I did. Just going back, make sure I didn't miss any. Okay. I like to get those super chats. Thank you, by the way. Thank you, David Quintanilla. Hey, Dave, it's my birthday on Monday, the 14th. How about some Freddy Krueger birthday wishes? Some Freddy Krueger birthday wishes. All right, David. Hey, David. Happy birthday, bitch. There you go. Happy birthday, David. I'm gonna come and kill you. Happy birthday. Let's see. Oliver Mercer says, hey, Dave, have you met Robert Englund? If so, what's he like? Plus, have you read Terminator 2, a T2 what is that? Inforatoror book? I'm not familiar with that word unless I'm having a major brain fart. I haven't read that book. And no, I have not met Robert Englund. I'd like to, though. That would be really cool to meet him, but I have not met him. Vegas Courier says, Dave, you should react to Cinema Sins video about the Halloween movie. Some sins are funny. I don't like really doing reaction. I don't like really reacting to other people's content. I like to do my content. Now, if it's something like a trailer or something like that, or if it's just ridiculously hilarious or something. I've watched the Cinema Sin stuff, but I find a lot of it just, I get what he's doing and it can be funny, but it's satirical. And most of what he's doing is not, okay, that's a bit of hyperbole. But a lot of things I've seen, it's like, yeah, that's not it's not a sin. It's too subjective. There's some things he'll be like, well, I don't understand it. Ding, and then dings will go up and dings will go up. And it's like, but that's just subjective. That's not objective. That's not like sins should be things that don't like. Yeah, it's funny, but I'm just not. There's some things I'm just like, no, that's not a sin. That's just a creative choice that you might not agree with, but it makes sense, and it makes sense in continuity, and it makes sense to the narrative, but he just didn't like it, so he adds it as a sin. Now, he doesn't do that with everything. There are a lot of things he does that doesn't make sense in terms of continuity and goofs and things like that too. But I'm just not at the end of the day, I would never really do a reaction to other people's content, unless it was, somebody I knew or something like that, or a trailer or something. Let's see here. Yes, that's true, the horror show. We do need to do that. Now, to be fair, I've got Two Dudes and Some Bullshit Monday night. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know what your schedule is like. We'll talk. Send me a thing and we'll talk. We'll see. Maybe we can do something maybe that afternoon or maybe even the next day or something to that degree. We'll talk. We'll make it happen. We'll try and make it work. I don't know how many people I can bring in. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll figure it out. Either way, there is a big announcement coming on Monday, folks. For those of you that don't know. And I've been tight-lipped about this for several months now. And I'm excited to announce it with a few other people. I think it's fun. It's fun. I think you guys are going to get a real kick out of it. So that'll be happening on Monday. So only 3 more days to go. Let's see. Did I miss? Oh, I always like to go back and just make sure I didn't miss a super chat. No, that was the last one. Okay, good. And as usual, folks, if I don't get to your question, it's not personal. I mean, we have 200 people watching. It's just a matter of it's never personal, right? You guys know that. It's not personal. I just, if I wasn't so thorough with my answers, which I think a lot of people actually appreciate, then I probably could get to more if I was just doing a yes, no, yes, sure, yes. But I like to be thorough, right? I like to give you guys that attention. So, again, it's not personal. Dan Curley says, how is your Black Christmas movie coming along? Hey, we were just talking about that. Dan, if you follow me on social media, on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I made the announcement last night that Bruce and I have finished our first draft of It's Me, Billy. We had a 2.5-hour production meeting last night, and the first draft is done. Now, that doesn't mean that we're ready to go to camera, right? That's just the first draft. The development stage is a very involved stage. We still have to go through a second draft, maybe even a third. And then we have to do a production budget, and we have to then switch over to the Indiegogo campaign. And, there's a lot of things that happen before we even launch the Indiegogo campaign. So, but to complete the first draft of the screenplay is a big event in and of itself. So we're really excited about that. So if you're not following us on social media, the It's Me Billy official Facebook page is below. Click on that link to get updates. We're going balls to the wall, as they say with this. We're gonna bring a production value and a short film and tribute film to Black Christmas that Black Christmas fans can be proud of. So we're looking forward to doing it, and being working in the film industry here in Toronto, we have access to a lot of things that are really cool. So we will launch an Indiegogo campaign for those of you that have just tuned in, but that won't be for a little bit yet. And ballpark, like I said, it's ballpark. This might change. We're looking to raise about $30,000, but we'll cross that bridge when we've done up our production budget. Let's see. Red Ranger 241 says, out of curiosity, did you watch El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie? No, I haven't, because I've never watched Breaking Bad. What? You've never watched Breaking? I haven't, so I haven't watched the movie. So I would have absolutely no reference to anything that's going on. But I hear a lot of people who are big Breaking Bad fans love it. So that's good. Let me see here. Tony Cosgrove says, do you still plan on showing fan art for... Yes, I will. Yep, absolutely. I have a folder on my desktop with all that in it. I am going to do it. Don't worry, Tony. I will. 100%. Haven't forgotten about it. Halloween's coming up. Might be a good time to do it in and around there. Excuse me. Wilson Delgado says, I'm glad that we are getting your movie, Dave. I can't stand the trailer for the 2009. Well, you know what? Listen, you and I know, right, that just because it's a trailer that didn't do much for me doesn't mean the movie won't be good. I just think it's unfortunate that they've chosen to attach the Black Christmas brand to it. Because you've heard me say ad nauseum, Black Christmas, to me at the very least, and I understand that I'm becoming that old man that says, get off my lawn, and all that shit. I get it. But Black Christmas has a very specific identity and formula, and it was removed in this movie. So it's not Black Christmas to me. I think they would have done themselves a better service of just calling it Sleigh Girls, like was the subtitle on the poster. Just call it Sleigh Girls. And people can draw their own conclusions to some parallels to Black Christmas, like, oh, it takes place at a sorority house or on a college campus, and it's Christmas time. Cool. Well, they can draw their own. Okay, cool. But other than that, there's no Black Christmas at all in there. So I'm curious to know whether that's going to affect the movie overall at the end of the day. And it'll make a bit of money, sure, because it's, it'll make some money. It'll probably make its production budget back and then some. But will it have pop culture staying power? Or will it just get lost in the ether and forgotten about? And that's unfortunate because Black Christmas is the brand of that. There's so much to it. Now, Bruce and I have, when we were working on It's Me, Billy, even though it's a short film and nowhere near the intensity, of what they were doing, we were still faced with the same dilemma of, well, there are certain things about the Black Christmas formula that wouldn't work today because of technology. So we were faced with that. So we created a story, a short film that, I wouldn't say acknowledge that, but we work around it. So if we can do that, and make it feel organic, right? And feel believable, even though it's a 21st century world, then they could have done that too. But they didn't. And okay. And maybe the movie will be actually pretty good. Like if you just watch it on its own merits, maybe we will walk out of the theater for those of us that go and think, you know what, that wasn't bad. That was so okay. But having it related to Black Christmas might be problematic, because psychologically it's like, but it's not Black Christmas, I think they should have just called it Sleigh Girls, in my opinion. Mark Williams says, hey Dave, when Joker is available for purchase, would a possible Saturday movie night in the future be in the cards? Ooh, maybe. Saturday movie night is a Patreon thing. So if I put it on the list of movies to vote on and it gets picked by my level 3 patrons, then it will become a Saturday movie night. So we shall see. And I apologize if the stream is hiccupy. I don't know why that is. I'm not sure, but it does appear to be a bit hiccupy. So my apologies if there's a bit of stuttering in there. It could just be the software. I don't know. I mean, it says this is how powerful my computer is. I have 3 programs open. I have about 7 or 8 tabs open. I'm running OBS and doing a live stream. And OBS is using 1.3% of my CPU. So it's like, why are you stuttering? What the hell? Fucking technology. Okay, let's see here. The Filmatic says, hey Dave, if they do a sequel to Joker, sequels are unnecessary. Well, some sequels are unnecessary. If there's if there's a movie that is set up that you're telling a story over the course of 3 films, right? There's one continuous arc, then a sequel would be necessary. But if your movie has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it ends, and it does have a definitive end, then a sequel is unnecessary. But anyway, what did you say here? You said, oh no, where'd you go? Did I lose you? No, there we go. But how do you feel about a story with Joker versus the gangs in Gotham City, like a crime movie, but with no Batman? You see, that's what I think they should do. And I don't think Joker needs a sequel. I'm leaning on the side that I really don't want there to be a sequel. But if they do a sequel, I don't want to see Batman. Look, Batman in this new universe, spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen it yet, he's what? He's a boy of what? 10, like maybe 12 tops, right? So you could do a Joker sequel, or maybe just a Joker trilogy and leave it at that over the span of like 5 years. And not even include Batman. Not even include him. Because by the time the trilogy ends, Bruce Wayne will only be like 16 years old. So I think it's, not necessarily that, but definitely more of him and his story and potential rise in the underbellies of the crime world of Gotham. I think that would be cool. Yeah. And I don't subscribe to the idea that he's too dumb to take, I think he is a simpleton. He's not a smart guy, but I think he's smarter. I think Joaquin's Joker is smarter than he was led to believe he is. And because he's free of the shackles and chains of his mother and the guy that I believe was potentially sexually abusing him. I believe that because he's free and he's finding his place, he's going to discover certain levels of wisdom that he didn't know he had. That doesn't mean that I don't mean he's going to become a genius, but he's going to discover certain levels of wisdom that I believe that he didn't know he had because of the suppression, because of the abuse that he took and the place that he thought he was in this world. And then when his character surrounds himself with smarter individuals, it will only bring him up certain levels. So yeah, why is the stream... Oh, I don't know why the stream is doing that. Tricky. The stream is being finicky. My apologies for that, guys. My apologies. Yeah, it's a bad stream today. Strange. So that's what I think. Okay, we'll go a few more minutes. We'll go to another 10, 12 minutes or so. If the stream was healthier, I'd probably keep going, but it's not a healthy stream today for some reason. Kyle Ryle says, Dave, I'm pretty sure Arthur is in fact Thomas Wayne's son. It is revealed when Arthur finds a photo of Thomas standing next to Penny. On the back is a message where Thomas says she has a good smile. Maybe, it's possible. They could always retcon that. I mean, it's set up that you could retcon that 100%. You absolutely could. Jason Willie says, how about a gangster movie night about Goodfellas, Scarface, Casino, and the Godfather films? In what regard? For Saturday movie night? Or for two dudes and some bullshit? Either would be, yeah, I'd be up for that. Potentially. Those are heavy movies. So there's only so much you can talk about. Like, it would be hard to talk about all four of those movies in any great detail in, an hour and a half. The Manhammer AR-15 says, Sir Dave of Toronto, they should call the Black Christmas remake Stocking Stuff Her. That's not another bad one. Maybe that's the subtitle to Slay Girls or something. That's funny. I like that. Mark Warling says, hey, Dave, happy October, best month of the year. With regards to the Halloween Kills movie, how much of the hospital scene should they have in it? Knowing I don't think the whole movie is going to take place there. I think the beginning of the movie is going to take place there because that's where Laurie's being taken. Laurie's being taken to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital because she's been potentially mortally wounded. So that's where they're taking her. And then I think that's where she's going to meet Sheriff Brackett, Lee Brackett, as a security guard. That's where that relationship will develop. And then will Tommy be a doctor there, like in my sequel concept? If he's a doctor... That's interesting. And then it plays on from there. So maybe the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie might be at the hospital. Maybe 20 minutes of the movie. But I don't think the whole movie will take place there. Maybe it will. I don't know. But if it does, it almost feels like a slap in the face to Halloween 2. It's like, really? You know, like the whole movie has to take place here. And it picks up the same night. And I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I don't want it to fail, though. I mean, as much as I thought the sequel to the 2018 film was mostly a movie of missed opportunities, I never want a movie to fail. Like, I hope Kills is great. I hope it is. I really do. I don't know if it's going to be, but I hope it is. I'm pulling for it. I'm rooting for it. Let's see. Super chat comes in from Cinema of the Dead. Thank you very much, Cinema of the Dead. Much appreciated. What's up, Dave? Are you a fan of the Night of the Demons movies? Episode on them. Night of the Demons. Night of the Demons? I don't think I've ever heard of Night of the Demons. What years were those movies? Are those aren't Hammer films, are they? What years were those? Because I think I might. I got a couple in my mind that I'm thinking of, but I'm not sure. Let me just do a quick Google search of that. Night of the Demons. Night of the Demons. 08. Okay. Night of the Demons. Oh. I got to admit. No, they're not Hammer films. No, I'm not familiar with these movies. Nope. Never seen them. Huh. Cool. Chris Bennett says, what about Night of the Creeps? I saw that years ago. That's a movie I saw years ago. Let's see. Shardy _dark says, Dave, what are your thoughts on Last Blood? Haven't seen it yet. Still got to see it, my man. Still got to see it. Let's go back here. Sergio Ribeiro, hopefully I'm saying that right, says, after Halloween ends, Blumhouse should do a Halloween anthology series for Netflix or Shudder. Have the first season be a remake of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I'd be down for that. As long as they don't go backwards. Don't go backwards and start doing the Loomis years with Michael. I don't want to see that. It's unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary. I don't want to see that. Do a Charlie Bowles series. He grabbed a hacksaw, he kissed his wife and his 2 children goodbye, and then he proceeded to do something. We don't know what he proceeded to do, but he proceeded to do something. I don't know. I'd like to see that. Do a Mr. Riddle spinoff. Let's see a Mr. Riddle spinoff. I'd be down for that. GAVH says, hey Dave, which Joker do you prefer, Phoenix Joker or Heath Ledger's? Well, I discussed this with Tony on Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. I like how you phrased that. You said, hey Dave, which Joker do you prefer, Phoenix's Joker or Heath's Joker? Because I see a lot of people doing top 5 Jokers. You can't, in my opinion, you cannot compare Ledger's Joker to Heath's Joker. They're 2 completely different incarnations of the character. Joaquin's Joker, look, for all intents and purposes, Joker is not a comic book movie. They're using a comic book character in a film that is a psychological thriller. It's an overused cliche now, but it is Taxi Driver. I mean, it's a multitude of films, but it's not a traditional comic book movie. It's a character study about a mentally ill man that lives a very sad life and, becomes this guy who he calls Joker. This isn't an action-packed comic book movie. Heath Ledger's Joker, although those movies were more grounded in reality than, say, the Tim Burton films, there's still a comic booky-ness to them. And the Joker is very, the Joker that we sort of know. So I can't compare them, I can't say Heath's is better. What do you mean Heath's is better? Heath wasn't doing... We don't know if Heath's is better because Heath wasn't doing Joaquin's Joker. In order for us to say that Joaquin does a better Joker than Heath, or Heath does a better Joker than Joaquin, they would have to do the same Joker. And then we'd look at them and go, Heath does it better. Heath does a mentally ill, in a psychological thriller Joker better than Joaquin. Then you can go, who's better? Oh, Joaquin does a much better, maniacal, comic booky Heath, much better than... Then we can compare them. But they're doing two completely different versions of the character. So you cannot say Heath is better than Joaquin or Joaquin is better than Heath because they're two different versions. What you can say to yourself is, which do I prefer? Do I prefer that version of the Joker or do I prefer this version of the Joker? So I really like the way that you phrase that there. And the answer right now, I think, would be, I am very much interested in Joaquin's Joker because I love the psychological psychoanalysis of this character. Now, I understand that not knowing the Joker's backstory and all that is people love that. He's just who he is. I get that. But this is not just knowing that version of the Joker's backstory. You're not knowing the Joker's backstory, really. You're learning about a guy who was never Joker and who becomes this character who he refers to as Joker. Like it's so like you're not finding out Heath Ledger's Joker's backstory. Do you know what I mean? It's so different. Like that's what's so beautiful about this film and why it's so brilliant. Is that it's not it's almost just a guy who just uses the Joker's persona. Like maybe he's not even the real Joker. I mean, he is, but I'm just saying that, you know what I mean? It's so hard to, I love what Joaquin did and I love the depths that he went and it makes me want to see more. It makes me want to see more and see Joaquin's Joker is already much more rich and fleshed out. There's more of a three-dimensional thing there. And just from a pure character study, from a psychoanalysis level, I love it. So right now, I prefer Joaquin. But that doesn't mean that I think he's better. He's different. It's completely different. Completely different. You can't do a top 10 with that kind of thing. Or a top 5. Or whatever. All right, a few more minutes here. The Jay Kennedy Show says, I like to think the different mentality ill people have taken on the persona of the Joker, similar to what they did in Gotham. Yeah, it could be like, I did a video yesterday that I uploaded to my channel where I gave an alternate theory to what was happening with Arthur Fleck. I don't subscribe to that theory. But I said that hypothetically, if the entire movie was in his head, which I don't believe it was, but if it was, then that would mean that the Joker really doesn't exist. He really wasn't the Joker. He's just a mentally ill guy who in his own mind pretended to be the Joker in his own mind. He really wasn't the Joker. There is no Joker. There was no Rise Up. Who's to say that there was even a Thomas? Who's to say that at the end of the movie, Joaquin is sitting there in Arkham Asylum, in Gotham? We don't know that because the entire movie was in his head, potentially, right? So who's to say that he's not just a DC fanboy who loves Joker and conjured up this thing in his head about Thomas Wayne and Joker, and he just lives in our world, right? If the whole movie is in his head, you must then at the very least be able to recognize that that is a distinct possibility. That he's actually in our real world and nothing but a DC fanboy. Do I think that's what's happening? No. But if you subscribe to the whole thing being in his head, then that is a possibility. Because that means everything you saw in the movie, Gotham and everything, was all in his head. And the only reality is him at the end of the movie sitting opposite this therapist. Right? It's interesting. I don't subscribe to that, but it's fun. Joe E says, thoughts on The Shining. Thoughts. I love people who go, yeah, hey man, just say thoughts on the most, one of the most deepest psychological horror thrillers of all time. Go. Dude, that's like a 3-hour response. I would just say that it's one of my favorite psychological horrors of all time. Love The Shining. So many different layers there. It's unbelievable. So much good shit in there. Let's see here. Grand Guru says, you haven't seen Breaking Bad, Dave? You got to get on it, man. No, I haven't. I'm not a big TV watcher. I just never, it's like, again, when I say I haven't seen it, that doesn't mean that I don't think I would like it. I just don't care. Like, there's probably shows that are popular that just don't interest you. You just don't care about them. That doesn't mean that if you don't sit down and actually commit to watching it, that you wouldn't enjoy it. There's just nothing at first glance that makes you, I have to sit down and watch that. I just don't care. I've never seen an episode of The Walking Dead. I've never seen an episode of Breaking Bad. I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. And I don't say that to say, look at me. I've never. No, it's just facts. They just doesn't interest me. Game of Thrones doesn't interest me. The time period it's set, I'm not interested in that kind of thing. I just don't care. But I love it that people get excited over it because I get just as excited over other stuff. So I think it's cool. Let me see here. Horror fan Stanley Uris says, Dave, what if Ray lived in Halloween 2018? Please explain me your answer in detail. If Ray lived in Halloween 2018, he would go off, he would leave Karen, and he would go off and become the head CEO of Peanut Butter on My Penis. Now, Peanut Butter on My Penis would sit on a shelf right next to Jiffy and right next to Skippy or Skip or whatever the brands of peanut butter are. You'd walk, or Jif, I should say, Jif, right? I think that's the brand. You'd get Jif, you get Skippy Crunchy, and then you'd get this brand that says Peanut Butter on My Penis. The brand says Peanut Butter on My Penis, not on my penis, on my penis, on my penis, not on my penis. On my penis. And that's what he would become. That's what he would be doing in Halloween Kills. And there would be this detailed exposition and explanation about how Ray becomes the CEO of Peanut Butter on My Penis. That's what would happen. There you go. There's the explanation in detail. Let's see here. Voodoo Lee says, are there any characters you would love to do the voice for in an animated series based off a pre-existing movie? I would love to be able to do Looney Tunes characters. There's a voice actor I know from Toronto who is the new voice of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. And Daffy Duck is my favorite Looney Tunes character. And I would absolutely love to be able to do Looney Tunes characters. Awesome stuff. So that would be the answer. I'd love to do that kind of stuff. All right. A couple more and then we'll call it, afternoon. Let's see there. Let's see. Somebody I haven't gotten. Gary Sim says, hope they cut down the comedy in Halloween Kills. I hope so too. It was unnecessary. You don't need it. Cody Snyder says, Mark Hamill is perfect. His performance and those specific Joker's Arkham and animated series are it. Never seen them, but Mark Hamill is very good as the Joker. Absolutely. Sergio Ribeiro says, do you like Ari Aster, Hereditary and Midsommar? Excellent. I just watched Midsommar the other day, and I really liked it. I thought it was good. I did not like it as much as Hereditary. Midsummer's not a movie that I would probably watch on a regular basis, nor is Hereditary. I mean, it's quite deep. But Midsommar I enjoyed. I thought some of the acting, not from the lead actress, she was quite good, but her boyfriend there, I had trouble believing that these characters would not have left earlier in the film. It was good enough that I was able to suspend my disbelief. And I understand that there's a lot of psychological manipulation happening in that cult environment. And obviously there's things they're putting in the drinks and the food and all that. I get it. But I just saw moments of opportunity where if that was happening to me, I would have left 100%. So there were a few moments where I was like, I got to suspend my disbelief to believe that these characters are sticking around for this long, you know, when it's getting just fucking really weird. But I liked the movie, and I thought the cinematography was great, and I thought the execution was creepy and eerie. So I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Yeah, not as good as Hereditary, but I didn't hate it. I mean, just some of the believability in the characters I had a few issues with, but other than that, I thought it was all right. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for me here on this impromptu Friday afternoon live AMA. I got a skedaddle, so I really appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys are awesome. I apologize for the stutters in the stream, throughout the stream. Sometimes that shit happens. I don't know. Crazy shit, but hopefully it wasn't too bad and we were able to get through it. Have a great weekend, guys. It's Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, so I'll be diving into my turkey and pumpkin pie on Sunday, so I'll be all fat and bloated and needing to undo my belt probably for most of that evening. And don't forget, tomorrow night on Drum Dum's channel, Lee McCoy, it is Hallo-stream 4, or this is being promoted as Hallo-stream Kills, and it's myself, Lee McCoy, Wolfman's Got Nards, Jimmy Champagne, and Mike and Jay from We Watched a Movie. That is tomorrow night, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know it's a little late for you guys across the seas, but if Wolfman Got Nards, who is in Scotland, I believe that's where he is, if he can be up at 3 a.m. to take part in the stream, you can be up at 3 a.m. to watch it. It's okay if you don't, though. You can catch it on repeat. So that'll be tomorrow night. Don't forget that as well. So in the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you guys soon. Alrighty, have a great rest of your weekend. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your support. All right, I'm out of here. Cheers.